Now, full bands. As I said, the center bands are what we're talking about when we're talking about full bands or full split. They're synonymous, okay? You see a full band someplace, full split someplace. It's the center bands that we're looking at. And in order to qualify as a full band Mercury dime, number one, you have to have a complete separation with no nicks or bridges going through here, from over here over to here. Complete separation, and it should be deep. Those bands should be raised and rounded. Now typically the upper band is a little higher than the lower band, but they should be raised and rounded, and we'll show a graphic of that in just a minute. This is a full band piece. No interruptions in the incuse line going through the center whatsoever. This is a split band. You still must have the full separation, unbroken, from one side of the faces to the other. But notice how much flatter the bands are. They're not raised and rounded like McDonald's arches. They're much flatter. The split band pieces do not command the premium that a full band piece commands as far as value goes. Now on a 1945 Mercury, this still would not qualify for a full band piece, but you could sure as heck get a substantial premium for a 1945 Philadelphia with this split band designation in here. And they don't designate split bands. This would come back as a 45P. But if it did and it had this separation here, you could ask quite a bit of money for that because they just do not come with any separation, most of them. Take a look at some 45Ps on the floor. Almost always these are completely flat all the way across. So if you can pick up a coin with a quarter or a half or even 2/3 of a incuse line here and it's a 45P, and if you can get it for the regular price, buy it. Buy all you can get because they are worth a premium. And their premium would depend on what someone would be willing to pay for it. But they are rare with any separation whatsoever. The last year of issue, 45, my theory is the mint eased up on the pressure, striking the coins because they knew they were going to strike the Roosevelts the next year. They didn't want to go out and spend a lot of money making new reverse dies or obverse dies. So quite often you will find the obverse is weak on 45Ps as well as the reverse. Yes? P, Philadelphia. Philadelphia. Yep. Now the Denver Mint, they come with full bands. And they struck fewer pieces. The San Francisco is a little tougher to find with full bands. But the Philadelphia Mint 1945P is the killer.
Bill?
Yes?
On that side, what are those striations off the...
Oh, these, good. Thank you for asking, Ralph. These striations up here are die polishing marks. And they do not add to nor subtract from the value of a coin. When they polish the die, they put grooves in the die. So it's incused in the die. When a coin is struck, those revert to raised areas on the die because the die is negative, the coin is positive. So a scratch in the die will produce a raised line and usually parallel like this on the coin. Notice that they stop right here, and that's how you can tell. One way you can tell that they're not scratches or damage to the coin. When they come right up to the design, it stops because this area on the die is sunk in, it's incused. So it was not affected by the polishing of the field. But these are all raised, and you can see on one side it's a little lighter than the other. If you look at a die polishing mark and trying to figure out whether it's a scratch or a die problem, you might have to look at a very, very steep angle. Not like this, but really turn it so you get the light coming in at the bottom or at the top, and you will see the two different colors, which means it's raised on the coin. Okay. The next one is a non-split band, and you can see the bridges here. Okay. This is a good example of what I said on the 45. If you can find a 45p with even this amount of definition in the incused area, buy it. It's not going to cost you that much if you can get it at the regular price. Just put it away, because sometime you will be able to get a premium for that coin. Okay, everybody understand full bands, split bands? You can't have an interruption in that incused line or it disqualifies it for the grading services as to a full split band. A nick or an abrasion or a cut or something kicks it right out, no matter how high they are. Okay? This is an interesting one. This is a 45p, and someone took an X-Acto knife and cut in through here to try to make it a full band piece. He made two mistakes. First of all, he didn't get it halfway down. Okay? It's more toward the bottom. Secondly, he ran his X-Acto knife over into the field over here. And then what he did is whizzed the coin to make it look more uncirculated than it really is, and to mask the work he had done here with the X-Acto knife. Everybody know what whizzing is? Whizzing is altering the surface of a coin by using a high-speed wire brush. And it creates a false luster that looks nothing like the original luster of a piece. And because of the high speed, it builds up heat. And one of the characteristics of a whizzed coin is a metal buildup, like a little ridge, right along the side of a number or a letter. So if you look at a coin and the luster doesn't look quite right, and if the surface of the coin looks kind of like a surface of an orange peel, kind of mottled or rough surface, look very, very carefully at the edge of the letters and or the date to see if you can see any ridge along the side of it where the metal had actually gone right up onto the letters or numbers because of the high speed and the heat involved in that. It's not the problem that used to be years ago, but it still could be a problem, especially on older coins. Okay. Any questions on whizzing? It just doesn't look right. It's that sixth sense, okay? Okay, I mentioned marks on the cheek, hairlines. That looks pretty clean there, doesn't it? How about there? Same coin, different lighting. Same coin, different lighting. So that's why you have to really twist and turn to pick up those hairlines. Now this is an extreme example. The ones in the sets up here are not this extreme, so you're really going to have to look. But that is what lighting will do to a coin. Now if this coin was in an auction, which photograph do you think they'd use? I would say probably that one, wouldn't you? Same thing here. These are die polishing marks again up here, and you can see they're raised in the field. Again, it does not affect the value one way or the other. That looks like a pretty doggone clean cheek. Yeah, I might buy that. Oops, I went backwards. Here we go, and the same one. See all the way down here. And yes? Yes, hairlines are usually created by improper cleaning and or improper drying. I'm convinced that almost as many hairlines are put on coins by improper drying. If you must clean a coin and you want to dry it, take a soft cloth and pat it dry. Don't rub it dry. Pat it dry. Okay? Now a good way to dry coins is a hair dryer. That's okay. You're not touching the coin. Just don't use a hair dryer on a 3-cent silver piece or a half dime, because it'll end up in the next county. Okay? But that's the importance of hairlines. Counterfeits.